I'm gonna do a bit of a callback to entities and relationships. Actually, I want to do this in my Pokemon model file, to entities and relationships, and really just entities and relationships. Attributes we don't care about so much. And I think what I'll do, in fact, is maybe I'll just make a little notes file here. Oh, and in fact, I have one. But that is not the one that I want, because that's from Core. So we've got, I'm going to close out my sidebar for the moment. Let's actually put this here. There we go. This is what I want. So I've got a Pokemon. A Pokemon has moves. Let's talk Pokemon entities and relationships. What are our entities in the Pokemon domain? And can everyone see my screen okay and read it okay? Cool. So entities, we've got a Pokemon. A Pokemon can have a move. What are some other entities in the wide world of Pokemon? Because we're going to build them.
Trainers.
Trainers. Awesome. What are some other entities in the wide world of Pokemon?
Evolutions.
Evolutions?
Yeah.
What is an evolution in Pokemon?
It's like when they like transform, it's like the higher power version of themselves, like Squirtle and Blastoise.
Is that like a separate? Because with moves, like two different Pokemon can have the same move, correct?
Yeah, probably, or similar.
Yes.
Evolution is just like Charmander turning into Charizard. Like that's his final form, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Charmeleon, Charizard.
I'm gonna put it there with a question mark because I'm a little unclear if like an evolution, does an evolution always belong to like one specific Pokemon?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Let's do it. And an evolution is like another kind of Pokemon too, correct?
Yeah, so it would just be like another name.
Yeah. Okay, but this could be cool. Actually, I was wondering, I was unsure if there was a one-to-one relationship in Pokemon Land that we could model out, so we might actually be able to use this for that. And I think then this leads to relationships. What are some of the relationships we have between our entities and the Pokemon world, right? One-to-one, one-to-many. Feel free to just
Types.
Oh, go say that again, Anthony.
Types, like grass type.
Like
That would be like a many to one, right?
terrain. What's the type again?
Like you have fire type, water type, psychic type.
Got
grass
it.
type.
Got it. Types of Pokemons. Okay. I'll put that as a question too, because that might be an attribute. Right? I'm actually not sure, but we might want a list of all the different possible types, because it sounds like there's these specific categories. So what's the relationship between Pokemon and types?
Isn't there a lot of types that could have a lot of Pokemon?
And can a Pokemon have more than one type?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So a Pokemon can have many types. Type can be used for many Pokemon. So this is gonna go under many to many. What about Pokemon and trainers? What's the relationship? Someone describe to me Pokemons and trainers.
One trainer can have many Pokemon, but many Pokemon cannot have more than one trainer.
Yeah. And so what relationship is that?
One to many?
Yeah, exactly. And we're not going to worry about like which direction the one to many goes in, whether it's one to many or many to one. We'll each time when we implement, we'll figure it out for the specific case, which direction the one to many relationship goes in. And what about Pokemon moves? What's the relationship there between a Pokemon and a move?
Every Pokemon can have 4 moves.
And can a move belong to like more than one Pokemon?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. A Pokemon can have up to 4 moves. A move can belong to multiple Pokemon. And so we've got one to many, many to many, and the one to one is the one that I wasn't sure existed in Pokemon world, but maybe Evolutions does that for us. So if I'm understanding correctly, a Pokemon has one evolution into like its higher form, like its Super Saiyan Pokemon. Is that right?
Unless it's an Eevee.
Yeah, Eevee has 4 possible types at least. Last I checked, I had 4.
Really?
It's way
And
more than that now.
is Eevee like the
A lot
only
of Pokemon
Pokemon that
transformation.
has that totally like breaks the model?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he's got like 9 evolutions by
it.
now.
I think it's like 8 or 9 now.
Wow.
My
Okay.
kid has a stuffy version of everyone.
Was Eevee there from the very beginning in Pokemon? Just out of curiosity.
Yep. It
Okay,
was the first one.
I was gonna say maybe the Pokemon team had to like refactor their data model at some point, but if they had Eevee from the get-go. So really, evolution is one to many, even though only one Pokemon does that. A Pokemon other than Eevee, did I get their name right?
2 E's on both sides.
2 E's. Pokemon can have more than one evolution, even though Eevee is the only one to have more than one evolution. Okay. I could use a little help here. I would love for us to be able to come up with some sort of one-to-one relationship, more or less within the realm of Pokemon that we can build with Django models. Maybe something with like trainers. Do trainers have like I don't know, a profile, a stable, like an inventory, a home base?
Inventory might make sense, or home gym.
Pokedex, that's about it.
Pokédex, yeah, Pokédex.
What's
Because
the
trainers
Poke-
can have like 6 Pokemon, but they can all that they carry with them, but they can catch way more than that.
right.
Every trainer has just one Pokedex, and they're supposed to fill that out. That's their own Pokedex. No one else. It's just 1-to-1. One trainer, one Pokedex.
And the Pokedex is like the Pokemon that belong to that trainer.
It's
It's
like,
like
a
their dictionary.
Oh, it's their dictionary. What goes in the Pokedex?
All the Pokemon that they've encountered.
Oh, I see. I love it. Perfect.
And then their
Pokedex.
team is all the 6 Pokemon that they carry with them.
Okay, awesome. The team, we may be able to sort of leave that as a composite, because once we have that like trainer to Pokemon relationship defined, the Pokemon who belong to that trainer is the team. I take it stuff goes in the Pokedex, but we'll worry about that later, to be honest. but we'll worry about Pokedex entities later. For now, let's just say a trainer has one and only one Pokedex, and each Pokedex belongs to one trainer. And I guess the Pokedex, so the Pokedex is a list of like Pokemon encountered. Is that right? Okay, all right, let's throw it in there. Yeah, I see the note about the Game Boy. Please don't send me the Game Boy. I probably would not show up to class again and just be playing Pokemon. So we actually have like a many-to-many relationship between Pokedex has many Pokemon encountered. Each Pokemon can be in multiple Pokedexes. So I'm probably not going to worry about that. This is awesome, by the way. This is great. And so I think the things that we want to build are, let me get my cursor to confuse itself. What are we going to build? Let's start with create the Pokedex, create trainer, create one-to-one Pokedex trainer relationship. So we can see a nice one-to-many relationship. And then let's maybe create a one-to-many Pokemon. Really, the one-to-many goes in the direction of trainer to Pokemon relationship. And then let's create a many-to-many Pokemon move relationship. And that's more than enough for us to do in like the next 15 minutes. But I think this will be awesome. So thank you all very much for helping me fill this out. And I'm going to go ahead and start building some models and then adding some relationships. And I might ask for a little bit of help with the models as I go. And the moves I'll close out for now because we're going to focus on Pokemon. And in fact, in the interests of time, I'm not going to make a new Django app, but you could make a case for creating another Django app for trainers, say, but I'll save that as something maybe for us to refactor and do for another day. Though we do have the two different apps for Move and Pokemon, so when we get there, we will see how to use models between apps, and the good news is it's really straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and make a trainer. I'm going to actually copy this Pokemon class and do some deletions and modifications in the interests of time. The trainer is going to have a name. What are some other useful fields for our trainer to have? A name. Sorry?
Gym badges.
Gym badges. Okay. That one I'm going to do as a to-do because I feel like that could end up with a whole new list of things. Though actually we could do to-do, make not char field. I'll leave this here because maybe we want to play with this later. Actually, we'll make it a text field because it's going to be really open. And its default will be none, which hopefully makes sense in the world of Pokemon. And we'll have self.name has these gym badges. And I can get rid of that stuff. And here I just need self gym badges. And for the moment, it will just be a string list. And then we don't need any of this other stuff. And now we have a trainer. And our trainer needs a Pokédex. And this one I think I will do from scratch. And I don't even know if the Pokédex needs a name or not. I will give it a name just so that there is like a field that is just there to, like, I don't know, we can name it my Pokédex or whatever we want, just so there's a field right now, to be honest. And we're gonna actually end up with a bunch of relationships around the Pokédex, I think, which will be really interesting. But let's start with seeing what a one-to-one relationship looks like with Django. And the great news is, and would this be the right name for the one-to-one relationship? Just trainer? Django models has a one-to-one field. And we can pass it the name of the model that we want to form the relationship. And we can pass it a rule about deletion. And actually, we need to borrow from this models class. It has a it looks like it's a little function that's really like a constant, basically. And if I hover over on delete, we should get some. I was hoping it would give slightly more interesting information. But if we look up Django models on delete, this is where we will get some good information. Basically, we're telling it what to do, I believe, when we delete the trainer. So this is the key bit here, this first part of the sentence, when an object referenced by a foreign key is deleted. So, and you'll note there's this models.foreign key that we are not actually using. We don't have to, because this one-to-one field will use this under the hood. And if we look in, again, VS Code has, I think, is incredibly helpful because it gives us definitions. It's pulling from the Django docs. And pretty much like it says here, a one-to-one field is basically the same as the foreign key field, except it always has a unique constraint. And it sets up a reverse relationship, which we'll see a bit later, that like there are a couple things we do with Django so that we can go not just from trainers to Pokemon, but from the Pokemon to their trainer. And the one-to-one field sets that up for it. So I can go not just from trainer to Pokédex, but from Pokédex to trainer. And in fact, maybe it's a bit of an open argument, I think, whether we want to have this one-to-one field on the trainer or the Pokédex model. Probably the Pokédex model, because as we're seeing here with this on delete, it's about the object referenced. So this references the trainer. So with on delete cascade, when I delete the trainer, the Pokédex is also deleted. And that makes sense. We probably don't want to like delete a Pokédex and then delete the trainer. We probably want to say, hey, you can't delete this Pokédex. It belongs to a trainer. You have to delete the trainer first. So that's the beauty of Django models and Django ORM. That's actually all we need. And let's go ahead and run this. And if I do Python manage py, make migrations, I believe it's either dry run or plan. So it's telling me what's going to happen. It's going to create the trainer model and the Pokédex model. And actually, before I do this, do people have any feedback, recommendations, requests for changes to either our Pokédex or trainer models? And this wouldn't affect the migrations, but maybe what I'll do is add a dunder string method here. Pokédex self.name is self.trainer, trainers, Pokédex. So let's run our migrations. We've created those migrations. Now let's actually apply them. And if I run this plan, I can see what it's going to do. It's going to create the trainer and the Pokédex model. And let's go ahead and do that. And if I go into P-SQL, let's poke around at this as well. And I believe it is, I think it's the name is Pokédex validations because that's what I was using yesterday. And here we can see we've got actually I may be in the wrong database. Let me do a quick look at our settings py to remind myself what my database name is. And it is Pokédex DB. So let's look in here. There we go. There's our moves. There's our Pokemon. There's our trainer. There's our Pokédex. And if I look at the trainer table, and I need to give the full name because Django makes extremely verbose table names, which makes perfect sense, but is a bit of a pain. We've got that foreign key reference that Django has done for us with, let's get rid of settings py and look at the good stuff with the models, with the many-to-many field and the unique constraints and all of the things that we would want Postgres and our SQL to do. And if we take a look at Pokédex, we see the same thing. So this is the cool part of Django models. And I want to check in and see what questions people have. People feeling pretty good about this? Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and add a couple other relationships, and then we'll have a break, a little bit of work time. I apologize. I know today went kind of long, and then we are going to switch gears. And the last part of the lecture, we're going to start seeing how to do URLs and the whole server side of Django now that we really dug into models. So let's do a one-to-many relationship with trainers and Pokemon. Let's go up to our Pokemon. Let me simplify all of this a bit. I'll add a note. Pokemon can belong to one and only one trainer. Trainer has multiple Pokemon. And is that the right way to describe it in Pokemon, in the Pokemon game? And I do feel like an old person now because I keep asking these questions, and it's like if someone was like, so wait, you mean Mario jumps on mushrooms and like hits bricks for coins? So I do feel like an old person here. But let's go ahead and model this one-to-many relationship. And in fact, we do that with that foreign key, models.foreign key class or method. Are these classes? Yeah, there are classes. The foreign key class that we were just looking at before. And we give it the name of the model in question, which in this case is trainer. And we give it on delete. So let me ask you, when I delete a trainer, do I want to also delete from the database all of the Pokemon that trainer has captured? No, I do not. So we're not going to add this on delete cascade. This on delete argument is I'm not 99% sure it's optional and that we don't have to say anything there. Though now this squiggly does seem to be I was totally wrong. It is not optional. Let's go ahead and fill it out with what we need to. So I am actually going to refer back to the Django docs. And let's take a quick look at on delete. This is where I feel like the Django documentation can be a little funny. Because what I really want, there we go. Like this is what I really want is a description of all the different on delete things. Actually, let me throw this link in the Zoom chat as well. And if someone can repost this to Slack, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm catching up on the chat. Yeah, Megan, you're right. Pokemon has been around forever. I'm not that old. I did turn 40 this year. I think I wasn't into it when I was a kid, or maybe I was just a year or two ahead of when it really blew up. So I just never caught the wave. On delete, we talked about cascade, and that's not what we want. There's also protect and restrict. And a bunch of others, set null, set defaults, but really most of the time we want cascade, protect, restrict. Right? And here, this restrict example is a good one. But I think we actually want protect here for our Pokemon. Because if we delete a trainer, oh, I see this goes in both ways. I do get a little confused by this sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. But we clearly know we don't want cascade. Like, and in fact, when I delete a Pokemon, I don't want to delete its trainer either. So I think we want protect here is what we want. Basically, we don't want the trainer to go away when we delete the Pokemon is what it is. And it is a little confusing at first because it's a little backwards. And I got confused at this to begin with. This on delete isn't about like, should we delete the Pokemon or not? It's about, should we delete the trainer, the thing that gets referenced. So I believe protect is what we want here. I'd have to double check, but the main thing is we very clearly don't want cascade. And I think that's the one thing to be aware of. And so now I do have this squiggly here that says trainer is not defined. And that's because I have the trainer up here, but not here. So there are different strategies, like at a certain point, we could even start putting this stuff into different files in a models directory. That's not uncommon, but for now, for simplicity, I can just change the order and that problem is solved. And so now we have a Pokemon, which we already had, but now our Pokemon has a trainer with a foreign key. And let's go ahead and run this and see if we can't add a couple things. So we're gonna make some migrations. And this raises a good point, actually, that I missed. It is impossible to add a non-nullable field trainer to a Pokemon without specifying a default, because the database needs something to populate existing roles. So let's quit and manually define what we want to do. So we need to decide, what do we want to do about this foreign key trainer field? Should it be able to be null or blank?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And thank you, Clarice, and thank you, Matt. So let's do null true and blank true. And now let's see if that's enough, or if they really want us to put a default. I think that will do it. Let's find out. There we go. Let's go ahead and apply the migration. Right, and null and blank we want to be true because a Pokemon does not have to have a trainer. And that much I do know. Let's run migrate. And we run the migration. And let's go into the Django shell and just play with some of this stuff just to kind of see what happens here. Oh, and I need to, of course, import. And let's import trainer. And that ought to do it. And now let's try making Pikachu again. And let's see if we can't save Pikachu to our database. Awesome. Oh man, what is that guy's name from Pokemon? The sort of, what's our trainer's name gonna be?
Ash.
Ash.
Thank you.
I think it was Goku.
Yeah, right. That at least I do know. Name Ash. Let's see if I missed anything for our trainer. Let's create a Pokédex for Ash. So actually I need to do one more import step here. And the beauty is we can, write a function in our Django code to do all of this stuff whenever we create a new trainer. And here we do get a validation error. Validation error trainer, this field cannot be null. So is this what we want? Do we want that a Pokédex must always belong to a trainer?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not a trainer without a Pokedex.
Exactly. Exactly. And so the beauty of Django models is I can do Ash Pokédex dot trainer equals Ash. And now if I do Ash Pokédex full clean, it works great. And we wrote that under string method. And so like, yes, I have saved Ash to the database and he exists as a row in a table in Postgres, but we can also use that Ash model object for interacting with these other models. And if I was doing this, from the get-go, I could have done Ash Pokédex equals Pokédex name, Ash's Pokédex trainer Ash, right? I could have passed the variable in that way as well. And now that all seems to have worked correctly, which is awesome. And we can in fact hop into P-SQL real quick and connect to the Pokédex app, I think it was called. Let's see here. Pokédex DB, excuse me. And I have to do the extremely long. And we've got Ash, and we've got Pokédex that belongs to Ash.
Hey Adam, quick question.
Yes, what's up?
For that name, is that a string type? Or what does that come in as since you didn't give it quotations?
Oh, the name, you mean here in the Django console when I was defining this stuff?
Yeah, it says trainer equals Ash. Doesn't
Yeah.
go on.
This is not the name. This is actually, if we look at, that is a great question. If we look at this Pokédex model, we've got name and trainer. The trainer field represents a relationship, a foreign key, a one-to-many. And so here, I actually pass trainer a variable. And this variable Ash actually has an instance of our trainer model. And what Django models does is it does the work for us of saying, cool, all right, I'm given a model. Is it the right kind of model for this relationship? It is, it's a trainer. All right, we save, let me get the primary key of this model and actually do all the SQL work to like get, select trader where the name is Ash or whatever primary key and insert that into the Pokédex row. Basically, we get to work a level up now. Like I can, for these relationships, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, I don't have to give foreign key IDs. I don't have to give IDs. I can actually pass the actual like model instance that I care about, and Django will do all the work. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, no, that helps. I didn't realize it was a one key relationship.
Got
Probably
it.
just morning rain, need more coffee.
I feel you. That's I'm in the same boat. And in fact, I have my coffee over here. So yeah, that is honestly the great part of Django models is like, and we can start chaining these things together. Like we can do, I think we can do Ash dot. Can we do Ash? Yes, we can do Ash dot Pokédex. So that's what this one-to-one field does for us, is it establishes that relationship. Even though our trainer model does not have Pokédex, and I'll show how to do this in just a moment. I think what we'll do is we'll maybe modify this Pokemon class real quick to do that, and then we definitely should break because I apologize, we have gone on a bit. And similarly, like Ash Pokédex trainer, right? Ash Pokédex trainer name, Ash Pokédex trainer gym badges. So this is the cool part, is that these relationships, Django does the work both of putting stuff into SQL with primary and foreign keys and lets us use working with classes and objects the way that we're used to in Python with these relationships, which is awesome. So I think the one bit I want to demo and then we'll break is a really valuable addition for one-to-many relationships. And let's do this, in fact, I think with Pokemon moves, because we have moves, we have Pokemon. Let's see how to use this together and also see how to do this between different model files. So I want to add a move to my Pokemon. We haven't really implemented up to 4, so I'll just say multiple moves due to limit moves to 4. So this is going to be a foreign key relationship. Actually, even better, what this is going to be is they have these one-to-one fields, one-to-one relationships, a many-to-one. I'd be a little careful about using that one, but it has a many-to-many, field. And I would avoid, note there's many-to-many field and many-to-many relationships. We want to use the field. And if we look at many-to-many relationships, and by the way, you can use the up and down arrows or Control N and Control P to navigate through these. N is for next and P is for previous. Many-to-many field uses many-to-many relationships. This is like a lower level thing that we don't want to touch. We almost always want to use many-to-many fields because a Pokemon is going to have multiple moves and a move is going to belong to multiple Pokemon. So this is a many-to-many, which is going to be really exciting. And we have to tell it the name of the model. And here, now, I do have to do a little bit of importing. And just like we've done our importing everywhere else, I give the name of my app if it's somewhere else, the name of the module, which is the same name as our file, which is models, and we import the class or variable or function in question. And in this case, it is our move model class. And note that my description actually, so that's the nice thing about these, if you want to start adding doc strings to stuff, like if I hover here over trainer, let's actually add like awesome trainer model so you can see this in action. So if you want to make your life easier, you can start documenting your code with doc strings, and there's all sorts of, there's actually like kind of standardized ways to do it, and VS Code will use your documentation for your code. So we've got a move. Our Pokemon has moves. The moves have Pokemon, and the last bit we want to add here is this property related name. And I might need to tweak that. And let me make sure I have that right. Related name, in fact, should look like that. And if we look at what a related name is, let's actually look at the Django docs very briefly to see how they describe related names. And again, what I do with the Django docs is I always have a hard time finding stuff. I just Control F. And then usually that gets me where I want. And so this first sentence describes it pretty well. The name to use for the relation from the related object back to this one. And let me show you all what this looks like in action. We are going to have to create a make migrations file. Let's see what the plan for that. Actually, I believe the term is it's a dry run. Right, we're adding the moves field to our Pokemon. So let's go ahead and add that, create that migration file. And again, this is the nice thing. If I want to like undo stuff, migrations let me do this in a controlled way with the data that's already there. And actually, I was not getting the tab completion for migrate because I misspelled manage. If I want to get a preview of what the migration will happen, I can use -- plan and we can run it. And let's go ahead and check out the Django console. And we do have to do a little bit of importing here. So I'm going to find an import statement somewhere in my history. And let's import all the things we care about. We care about a Pokemon. We care about a trainer. And now I do need to import moves, which will be from the moves at models import move. And it is indeed singular and not plural. So now I've got move, I've got trainer. Let's do. So as a short refresher on querying, I can do Pokemon objects all. I can do Pokemon objects get name equals Pikachu. Though apparently I did something totally wrong here. Pokemon matching query does not exist. I am not sure if this is because there was no Pikachu or there's something else that I'm doing wrong here that's escaping me at the moment. So let's kind of step through this.
Is it because there's more than one Pikachu?
Oh, I see. That is a good guess. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's get Charmander. You're totally right, Clarice. And that makes sense. I'm pretty sure the get method for querying is meant to get one specific record, right? One specific thing. There are other querying approaches with Django models that will like return sets. And in fact, the error message, if I had taken the time to read it, gave me that clue. Where again, it's always the first or last line, and here it was right at the very, very last line. Get return more than one Pokemon at return 2. So yeah, Clarice, you hit the nail on the head. So let's do my get. Let's do Charmander. First, let's also get Ash. Let's do Ash equals. Do I not have a trainer? Oh, good, I do. Ash equals trainer objects get name equals Ash. Let's go ahead and have Charmander have Ash as his trainer. Let's look at our moves too, actually, because that's the next thing that we really want to do is give Charmander some moves. And let's see if I have any moves. And thankfully I do, though it doesn't have a name, which is unfortunate. Let's just do all moves equals moves objects all. And I keep forgetting that it is singular, move, not moves. I'm just gonna do M equals all moves sub 0 to get the first one. And then I think there should be a name, which is empty. What's a good name for a move to give Charmander?
Kamehameha.
Okay, that sounds not quite Pikachu-y and a little like Street Fighter-y, but I dig it. It passes validation. Let's save it. Let's go ahead and give Charmander a move. So I can pass in, there's two things really that I want to show here. And remember sorry, I didn't mean to lose the Pokemon class. We've added this moves field to the Pokemon class, and it's a many-to-many field. So let's give Charmander the move. The variable was M, and Pokemon object has no attribute move. That is probably because it needs to be moves. And I probably need to do something like this. But Django is giving me this warning. Direct assignment to the forward side of a many-to-many relationship is prohibited. Use moves.set instead. Right? And so because this is a many-to-many relationship, Django's probably storing it as a list or something with its models before it saves it to Postgres. And so I can't just assign it to a variable. It doesn't want me to do that. There's a couple different ways to do this. I can do moves.set. And let's actually do Kamehameha equals M, just so now my variable name is more meaningful. So it doesn't like this either. It probably wants me to wrap this in a list. So if I wanted to set a whole bunch of moves at once, I could do it that way. But what I can do that is a lot easier is I can just do Charmander moves add Kamehameha. And if I do Charmander moves all, we've got all the moves. And in fact, what's another Pokemon move? Let's make one more move real quick.
Fireball.
And let me open up our moves model so I can remember what we need to add here. We need a name, accuracy. Well, we just need a name because everything else has defaults. And that is the beauty of default settings. Now, I don't need to save it to the database before I do all this stuff, but it's so easy to forget that step when I'm doing things from the console. And it's nice because I can come back to this later and have that data there. So let's do Charmander moves add Fireball. And now if I do Charmander moves all, I see two moves. Now I have not actually saved this new move of Charmander's, the Fireball, to the database yet. And in fact, let's take a quick look here at the database. Somewhere in here, and it's right here. Can you all read this? The table is named move app. Let's see. No, I'm so sorry. It's this one right here. Can you all read this? The table says Pokemon app, Pokemon moves. Is that readable to everyone? Awesome.
Yes.
Django created the join table for us. We don't have a model named Pokemon Moves. We have a model named Pokemon. We have a model named Move. When I added this many to many field, Django created a new table for us, the join table, which is awesome. And it's exactly what we would expect. It's got a column for the Pokemon ID and a column for the move ID and a bunch of primary and foreign key references. And so right now, oh, maybe Charmander's move did get saved already and I just missed a step. I apologize because it does appear that Pokemon ID2 has 2 moves. So I think I just may have missed the step here that this add command must also save. If I had to guess, I think I just forgot that. And that this add went ahead and saved Fireball. And you know, we could do all the joins and stuff here if we want to, you know, like join on. I'm not gonna type it all out here, but we could use all the things we learned last week. But with Django console, it does a lot of this for us. I am going to do Charmander save just for sanity. But now Charmander has moves. But now the question is, let's say I want to find all the different Pokemon that have a particular move. This is where this related name property comes in. Moves, move. Actually, I don't even need to do that because I have the Fireball move. Fireball dot Pokemon. Now, I might need a little more information from this, maybe. It looks like it's giving us a whole bunch of stuff back because it might be a list. So there's maybe one other step we need to do to look at this. To go in the opposite direction. Let me see. I think I might actually be missing something here. And in fact, what I am missing is, I believe, a serializer. Because if I look at Fireball Pokemon, I'm not going to dig into this too much, but in essence, this is something wrapping potentially a bunch of things. Because a move could have many Pokemon that belong to it. So I'm going to pop this open for a sec and let's see. I believe we built a serializer for our moves earlier, if I recall. We do. So let's add a method here named Pokemon, and it's going to look something like this. I'm doing a bit of like range type stuff. I'm basically building a list here of Pokemon names. And I do need an equal sign over there. And let's see, I want to make sure that I have. So there may be one more step here. I apologize because I do want us to break soon. I want to make sure that I can demo using this correctly. I think this will help with the serializer. Let me actually. Make sure I'm not missing something with Django. Because we already have our many to many. Let's try, I think I did miss something here. Let's see, what if we do Fireball Pokemon? Oh, okay, there we go. I apologize, folks. I got a little confused there between serializers and models. To step back and recap, our Pokemon has a many to many field moves. I can add this related name, Pokemon, because I can do Charmander.moves. And here we actually see the same thing where Django really wants us to use the objects and the classes that it provides us. And this is where I got confused a moment ago. Just like with query results, and if you look at like the Django model class and the documentation for that, it will list through all this stuff. But the most useful things are all, there's first, and I believe we also have get, that we can use as well, right? So we can chain our queries. Pokemon, objects, get, name equals Charmander, moves, all. And there we have just queried and gotten a list of Charmander's moves. And Django model uses this class called a query set, and that's kind of what it wraps stuff in. And so if you're in the console and you start to see like this Django DB models field stuff, basically that's saying like, this is returning something that you're meant to use one of these like querying methods on, like first or all or get, or there's a number of them. And so then what this related name does is it lets us move in the opposite direction, where I have the Fireball move, but I can find the Pokemon that it belongs to. Right, and right now it's just Charmander. So let me pause there and see what questions people have, and then we will take a break. Because I know I took one or two twister turns there. So I just want to see what is on people's minds, or if there's anything that you'd like to demo and see again. Okay, how are people feeling? I know I ran a bit long here. Does this feel like new and you need some time with it, or does this feel like a natural progression from kind of what we saw yesterday?
I think personally, I'm just going to need some time to absorb all of it.
Yeah, totally. Let's take a break. Let's take 15. And I do apologize. There is a whole nother category with sort of like the server side of Django and URLs that we have on the list today to cover. So I apologize. I ran a bit long and I do have to cut the work time in the mornings. And well, tomorrow's Thursday, so it's a bit of an odd day, but I know that that's really valuable, and I will make sure that like tomorrow aside that we have that morning work time for stuff moving forwards. And what I can also do is I think in the afternoon, if people want to do like a demo review session, like I'll be around to go over some of this stuff. So let's take 15 and then let's look at another side of Django. So thank you all and see you in 15 minutes.